All right. Hello, 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 and welcome. I hope everyone is doing fabulous today. My name is Sabrina Victoria. I am here with Mary Morrison, and this is her talk show. We are going to be diving deep. I am loving this subject today. When we are upset, this is a stop sign for our body. I love this. This is like a daily, this can be like a daily reminder for some of us. So we're going to be going over some of the triumphs, some of the challenges faced by women, and how to read this. How to read this. We're going to be offering insights and inspiration, not only for your personal, but also your business growth. Let's jump in.
Get ready, because today's guest is about to change the way you view your world. This is her talk show, hosted by Sabrina Victoria.
All right, if you're listening live, welcome. And if you're listening on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you're at so we can send you some love in the comments. We're here every day delving deep into the realms of health, wealth, and leadership with some of the most brilliant women globally. We've interviewed over 600 women, and today we are adding another one to the list. Miss Mary Morrison is a seasoned health and well-being coach and consultant for extraordinary leaders, a trained humaning well Chinese medical practitioner and qigong energy healer. She teaches leaders to unlock their inner wisdom and cultivate resilience through her transformative wisdom within method. With 20 plus years of experience, Mary guides leaders and organizations toward thriving cultures rooted in well-being and impactful leadership. Welcome, lady.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you so much. I love this word humaning as a verb.
Yeah, I do a lot of things with words that make some of my clients cringe. But it's not my humaning is a deep bow to my mentor, Jade Duggan, who's taught me or retaught me a set of skills that I learned way back in my Chinese medical training. So yeah, I peeled that off and just went with the skills practice added in the Chinese medical aspect of what I do, and have been presenting these as a day-to-day skill set for people.
I love this. So most people would view that word as a noun.
Mm-hmm.
So how is it a verb? What are some I guess if we're humaning, right, we can human slow, fast, big, little, right, wrong.
Yeah. So it makes the word active.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it does. The ing actually makes it present. And so that's actually the crux or the foundation of what I teach, what I guide people through is now is the moment. That's where everything's happening. It's where your power is. And how are you losing your power day to day, which I would call that upset. And then what you can do to redirect that to get back to your calm and ease body. So yeah, being active in the sense of being present, which we often don't think of necessarily. Some people might think of, oh, I got to sit on a meditation cushion, or no. It could be, right? But
yeah,
there are many ways to be present, to intentionally design your presence.
Love that. So let's run with this. So humaning, and we're diving into this very blanketed word, upset, which could go in so many different directions. But I'm really intrigued by this because upset seems like I said, such a blanketed term of just, I'm upset. But you really dive deep into the knowing of that, as far as this is actually your body speaking to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So great call out, because upset, I'll tell you what I mean by upset. And again, this is part of the questioning for everyone to reflect on, is when I'm upset, when I'm resistant to what's happening in my life or in the world or whatever. It's basically, I want the world to be different than it is. right? You're doing something, could be something on the daily, pretty mundane, or it could be something larger that's happening around you, and you get upset. You upset yourself. And so how I frame that is it's not bad. It's not a problem, actually. It's actually useful. Because we get upset, I don't know, count the ways. So we have I count the many moments during your day where you're like, I don't like what's happening here. So that's upset. And so instead of like seeing it as, oh, I shouldn't be upset about this. I mean, how many times have you said that? Oh, I shouldn't be upset about this. It's fine, right? But your body actually holds the key to, let's see if that's accurate. If you're upset, just notice. And then now what, right? Now what will you do with that upset? Because if everybody just for a moment can even think the last time they were upset today. What did you notice?
Yeah, I'm upset right now.
Yeah. So what do you notice about your body? What are the physicalities of this upset? What do you notice?
Exactly what you said is what I'm dealing with right now, which is I shouldn't be upset about it.
Mm-hmm. But here we are, right?
Yeah, but like still upset about it. But then just consistently reminding myself that I shouldn't be upset about it. So that is interesting.
Which I would say is
especially for those of us who are on a healing journey, right? Because we're really recognizing that like everything is neutral. So if everything is neutral, then we're making things mean things. And if I'm making something mean things, then it's my doing, not necessarily the doing of whatever it is. So it's kind of this cycle. So this is my body telling me what's the inner talk that I should be having with myself.
Well, even before we even jump to that, right? Okay. The upset is optional.
Yes.
It's the observation of, it's really crucial though, that you're upset. And how did you upset yourself? And the real question I would be asking, and will ask, is it helping? Is being upset with what's so, given that you can't change what's happening, unless you can, but oftentimes the upset obscures clear thinking, right? It obscures being creative in the moment.
Absolutely, yeah.
So upset becomes the first acknowledgement, and then the observation of how did I create upset in my body? Because we're taking an abstract concept of upset in a way and actually defining or making it more embodied for you, because your upset is going to be different than my upset than anybody else that I know of. So there's these little granular things that I ask my clients to pay attention to. So first, the acknowledgement of the upset. I'm upset. Okay. So what happened? Where were you? When did it happen? How were you an hour ago? If you were relatively calm and easy, and the next hour you're not, how did you do that? You created one body, calm and easy. I'm feeling okay, right? How'd you wake up this morning? Barely eat. Okay. And then what did you do? Did you look at a screen? Did you hear a sound? And then upset? Very curious, because I would ask you to be curious about the upset. How did I do that? As a type of like curiosity, just to be curious, no judgment. We're all upset. We can't cure upset here. That's not my point. But it's like, could I be curious about how I did it?
Okay.
How I upset myself.
Is there always, okay, a naive question would be for those listening, I didn't upset myself. Somebody else upset me. Is that possible?
I hear that a lot. I hear that a lot. So then that's like, is that true? So let's see, right? So there's someone did something, right? If we kind of like get really like what actually happened, right? And if we look at what actually happened, someone usually did something, said something, combination of both. I don't know. Did you see an email? Did you see a bunch of words on a screen? Did you see something on your texted, right? Like you have to get to the moment you noticed you were upset.
Okay.
And go, okay, what are my symptoms right there? Is your jaw tight? Are you breathing shallowly? Did you clench your stomach? Did you narrow your muscles between your eyebrows? I don't know. A lot of times you can't see that, but you know, like what are the set of symptoms that you're calling upset?
Okay. And then when we figure that out,
okay, then you're like, okay, yeah, I got some symptoms. Do you got them? Do you have them? Do you have the symptoms? Okay. Okay. So observing that you did that, someone was just doing, I'm assuming it's a someone, or was doing what they're doing, and
they're just
you
doing
respond.
life. They're just doing life.
They're doing life.
Yeah.
The upset is you,
Okay.
which is common. It's not like, I'm not actually, this is like not a news flash. I hope. It's very common, but it's like you're literally handing over your agency to somebody else or something else, right? And I say we can't afford to do that. We have a whole healthcare system built on that. Disease care, sorry. So that's where we have to start. We actually have to start recognizing I'm upset. What do I mean by that word? Step 2. What am I actually feeling? Do I feel heat? Some people are like, oh, my hands get a little sweaty and I get a little flushed when I'm upset. And upset actually doesn't have to mean angry, by the way. It's anything other than, yeah, I'm feeling pretty even. I'm feeling pretty open, spacious. Life is okay. That's like a body that we probably prefer to do life through, right? So anything from that, how did you do that? How did you get to there? And then the key question is, does it help? Does it help get the thing done that you want to see in the world? Because upset, remember, is you're in a fight with what's so. I don't know how useful. I mean, it's useful because I'm going to walk you through the thing, but it's something we often do. Something's happening, we don't like it, and we get upset. And sometimes we might spend the whole day like that. And then we're infecting the whole room. We're infecting our people that we love. We don't mean to, but it's like, but the handing over the agency is where I would say the medicine is. Recognizing that you're doing that. And then deciding, is it worth it to keep doing that? Because the underpinnings of exhaustion, burnout, all the labels that we hear a lot in, being entrepreneurs or business owners, are a set of symptoms. And finding out which ones you have say-so over and deciding, are you going to keep doing that? Are you going to keep handing over your breath to somebody else? Are you going to keep handing over your power to somebody else? And then so I have 12 skills, Sabrina. So it's not just this first skill. The first skill is just observation, purely observation. How many times a day are you upsetting yourself? It's like you're inventing a body, the upset body. We call it, my mentor likes to call it, we're inventing bodies, several bodies times all day. You bring a certain body to this program, and you bring a certain body to your clients, and you bring a certain body. You are designing a body. It's a little weird, terminology or vernacular, but you are the designer of how you do life. So, but most people don't stop and ask, how am I doing this? So that's where I get in and have you practice very granular, ask very granular questions to have you observe and get curious and observe without judgment as much as possible.
I love that. The thing that's coming up for me, which I'm going to say because I'm sure that it's coming up for all the people listening live. By the way, we have a lot of people listening live. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us. We really appreciate that. For those of you listening on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you're at so we can send you some love. What's coming up for me is I totally am picking up everything you're putting down. I get all of it. I feel as if the next thought in a person's brain would be, okay, I don't want to give my power or my agency to somebody else. But they messed up.
Yeah.
So how do we separate our feelings towards what we think that person deserves, which is yelling, crying, silent treatment, and our upset, right? We're talking about upset, we're understanding it, we're getting the glimpse of like how that works. Do we have to let go of all of it in order for it to truly work?
Oh, no, absolutely. Because I'm actually asking people to, so I'll just point out, it's challenging to talk through this without an actual situation because we're talking a bit abstractly. However, the point is to use your upset, not to.
Okay, let's make something up. Let's just say I have a 21-year-old son. Let's say he leaves his dirty dishes in the sink.
Perfect example.
I'm irritated.
At that
Over
moment,
and
what do
over
you notice
again,
about
I
your body?
continued. This is not real, by the way. I continue to tell him that it irritates me, and he continues to every other day leave dishes in the sink, and it's incredibly frustrating. That's something that people deal with, right? So I'm boiling. I'm just like, dude, how many times? And then you're telling me
there's only two things in life: take effective action or completely let it go. Who's like, so one of the things is like, who's driving the bus of your life? Are you, or are you just letting somebody else? You letting your son who's, oblivious perhaps, or who knows what, right?
Yeah.
But so you take effective action.
What would effective action be on that?
So then there might be something to consider called a skill that I call making effective requests. So considering that the architecture of requests is oftentimes, or the lack of clarity, is a whole realm of suffering. And so what I practice and have my clients practice is notice that every day, all day, we're also doing two things. We're making demands or requests of people. But the very most challenging thing about requests are getting clear in your body first about what you want done. So you have to do that first. What do I actually want done? And what are the, I would call them conditions of satisfaction in which you want the thing done, right? Do I want it done by 5 p.m.? And does that include wiping off the tables and, making sure that everything's in the dishwasher? That's right. It's pretty important because when we ask people to do things, they can't be in our head thinking about what are all the details in which we mean by clean the dishes, right? I had this exact same
I love that.
situation. This exact same situation happened at our house. We have two teenagers that kind of come and go between two households. And when they come over, when we say, hey, what we notice, you're going to put away the dishes, clean up after dinner. Okay. We're like, great. Come back in an hour. Still nothing's moved. So at that moment, this tension I feel under my rib cage, this like I'm holding my breath. I can feel even as I think about it. The cool thing about we can regenerate the symptoms of something we haven't quite either let go of or our memory of it. So you can actually pay attention to your physical symptoms, even though it's quote unquote history. So the thing to do was be like, what? I told you, right? We always do. I told you to blah, 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 right? Oh yeah, okay, sorry, blah, blah, blah. Next hour. Nothing's, and it's, so I can feel the escalation of the symptoms, right? The heat, all that's pointing to something. That something is pointing to something that value. Like you would not be upset. I would not be upset if I didn't have a value that I feel like that was being like violated. That might be a too strong a word, but there was something that wasn't happening that I thought was going to happen. Okay. So here's the thing to go to then. Realizing, oh, I didn't define what I meant. I didn't tell her by when. And I didn't say it also includes wiping off the table and the counters, etc. Right? Because I also want everyone to know that when you make a request of someone, you're actually having them choose. So you actually have to picture this person declining your request. Because the only other option is a demand. But a demand is, this is what I want done by this time, and here's the consequence if it doesn't happen. You got to be explicit. But I don't know about you. I don't love going around every day making demands of people. It's not how I want. I don't want tyranny reigning in my home. So I try to think about, is there a request here that I could live with? Like really live with, not icing over, can I swear?
Oh, yeah.
Icing over shit. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying, how could I ask something of someone to do it, not as a manipulation tool, though, to honestly be like, okay, if they said no, I would just find another way to get it done, right? Like, that's what I mean. The toughest part about making an effective request is getting clarity in your own body about what you want. What's the outcome I really want to see? So once we figured that out with Abby, when I said, hey, would love for have a request, and right away that was like, okay, who asked that, right? That's a word that people are like, okay, it's clear. It says I have a clear something that I very clear that I thought about. I'm being thoughtful. And so we said, this is what we mean. This is what we mean. X, Y, and Z has to be done. Can you finish this by 6 o'clock? Yes, I accept. But we had already had the discussion, like, well, what if she says no? Would we be okay with that? And it'd be like, well, we chose yes, then we would do it. But no upset. That's the commitment. So you have to think about, what are you committed to in the world? Are you committed to ongoing upset and strife wherever you go? But really thinking about the little nuances of what makes a difference is just really about clarity in your own body first. Because upset it spreads like a virus. I don't know how many times you have felt another person's upset when they walked into a room, right? So you know that how it physically affects your body.
Yeah.
So the hypothetical is really salient because we deal with these micro upsets. I call them death by 1,000 chi leaks. Chi meaning energy, life force in your body, information, chi, right? And so that's my background. Chinese medicine uses that word a lot. But we do all these little micro, oh, I'm not upset about that. Oh, I can deal with that. I'll just live with that. But how many of those are we living with a day? And are you even surprised you can't sleep at night? I'm not. Are you surprised that you're carrying over something from the previous day when you haven't really been clear and explicit, right? That's what I'm saying. Your agency is within how you show up. So could we intentionally design our interactions with people that are clear, quick? These are micro habits for people to really practice to get instant results. And I mean instant, because once we reformulate it, or like, oh, we weren't clear about the time, or we didn't say what we meant, and blah, blah, blah. Once we did that, she was like, okay, yeah, that's totally clear. She did it, no upset. And if she didn't do it, we would have like, oh, you know what? Let's talk about that. Was something unclear? But there was like no upset. That's what's optional, the upset part. And so that's basically what I teach you how to do that, because that changes relationships. It should change relationship with your own physical body, with the relationships that matter to you. Because what we're really talking about upset with is the things that matter to you. You don't get upset about every little thing. So let's talk about when you're still getting upset about, you could just shift just a little bit to make a huge difference, a huge ripple effect.
Yeah. So to kind of rehash and make sure I'm understanding it correctly, when we feel upset in our body tells us in some way or another, which we went over some of the symptoms that could happen. That then is a action, and our body telling us to take action in creating clarity.
I'd actually say it's a stopping. It's a time to stop. Like,
okay.
So upset, like as you said in the beginning, is a stop sign for the body.
Okay.
So what I tell everybody is, like, when you're feeling upset, I want you to stop and just observe. You can like stop and like, keep like moving, but it's like, meaning like, just notice.
Got it.
How did I do that? What? Like, because it's like, really, this is really so important now, because it's like, am I aware that I'm doing the upset? It's me. It's all me. Again, not bad. I think we're used to having camps of, well, that's bad and that's good. These binaries, they don't work.
Yeah.
They don't work for this work. Because if we go there, then there's more tension, right? You feeling bad about, I shouldn't be upset. Actually, doesn't it add more tension to what you're feeling, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're feeling what you're feeling, and I want you to get that that's totally fine. And give yourself 5 minutes. And then say, okay, I'm done. It can be as simple as that. And I don't want to oversimplify anybody's anything, right? Because everything's contextual, everything. But for this conversation here, it's really recognizing that where is my choice? Because I would want you to aim your upset at resolving that thing. And that's what I would teach you. And if you're like, I can't make a difference in some of the things that are happening right now in the world. I can't, and I'm upset. Great. Okay. We still need to aim it at something you can do, perhaps. And maybe when you're upset, right, it really kind of shuts down your brain, the creativity, the possibility, like I said, upset doesn't necessarily mean anger. It's just meaning like, I want to see something different in the world happen. And we want more people like that, by the way. We're not going to fix upset. We're not. But could we use it? That's my gig. Could you use it to make a difference in the world? And your health will improve, by the way. Because my whole background,
I believe that,
about healthcare. I don't know how many people I've helped with. They don't take blood pressure. And these are coaching people. These are not former patients in my clinic. I'm actually talking about coaching people in a way that they see how they're doing their life that doesn't serve, but they didn't know how to pattern disrupt. So I even teach you how to disrupt those habitual patterns that you do. Very simple. I'm not about adding more to your day. So everything I ask you to do is during your day. So we're not going to whip out a yoga mat or you don't have to fill out a workbook or anything. I mean, you can. I have those things. But for simplicity's sake, I want you to have the tools as you go about your day and go, I'm noticing I'm upset here. Okay. There's also 11 other skills, right, to talk about. And the request is one of them. Was my request clear? I think the default should be like, well, let me think about it. I didn't tell Bob, 3:00. So how's he supposed to know, right? I mean, okay, my bad. I'll go back and tell him. Like this little stuff that you can do instantly and go, okay. Don't have to take that home to the kids.
So a lot of this, all of it is including clear communication.
Absolutely.
Which a lot of us don't have.
Yeah, it's communication. We have learned from the very origins of our life all the way up through all the experience of how we've lived this life. And so we've picked up habits that have served us until they don't, right? And that's usually where the upset comes in. It's like, this isn't working anymore. So using a set of skills that are couched in like all very old practices, old medicine, I would say, to help heal your body as you go about being more an effective communicator and living fully despite the chaos around you. But being more calm, right? You're infecting everybody just as equally as you can create upset and spread that, creating peace and ease in my body is also medicine for everybody else. And that's why I love what I do, because it's not just about your resilience. I've been looking up the word consilience, bringing everybody along with you on this wave of I'm going to, as much as possible, practice being peaceful. Because you know what, Sabrina, you're not going to be peaceful. Most of the day, you may not even be peaceful. That's not even the goal. The goal is, are you aware of how you're getting yourself upset? And then you can do something about it. But until you observe, it's really hard to change something you can't observe.
Absolutely. Yeah. Not knowing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Not knowing that this is even a possibility to stop and recognize and pay attention and be self-aware. Because a lot of times when we're upset, we go right into craziness. So, you know, crying, yelling, whatever it is, right? Just throwing things. I don't know what people do, but like
Right.
ridiculousness. And then we can't stop. The adrenaline just keeps rolling. I remember years ago in an abusive relationship, I was very docile. And as I continued in that relationship and I started to save money about 8 years in to get out, the more money that I had saved in my secret bank account, the more powerful I felt. As I became more powerful, feeling more powerful, more confident in my ability to be able to take care of myself, I didn't care what he thought. And I would ignite so quickly because I could. I wasn't scared anymore. I wasn't nervous about not having a home.
Yeah,
And
you're creating a new body.
and I became an entirely different person. I became so irrational, so temperamental, so like anything would set me off like a crazy person. And I remember thinking to myself towards the end, I'm like, I have become a totally different person than who I am. This is insanity. Swearing, calling names, name calling, horrendous. And the relationship that I got into after that, I did wind up leaving, and a couple years later, ended up in another relationship. Was so calm, and still am.
Interesting.
Yeah, still am.
Okay.
I'm no longer with that person, but so calm. So I'm just kind of relating to that. Like when we do get upset, it's hard to calm down. Like I remember just like once I would be on a roll of being upset, I would just like anything goes.
Right.
It would just get insane between
And
the two
that's
of
actually
us.
a good point, because you never want to, for example, make an like when people are upset, sometimes it's people are like, oh, they come to the call like, I'm noticing I'm upset, but they're relatively calm. They're just kind of thinking about it. And there's definitely questions to kind of like, I think of like upset as kind of like a balloon. And my question's kind of like poking holes, so you go like it's kind of, you're trying to deflate just a little bit, just soften the body, right?
Got
Because
it.
we know the consequences, the cascading effects of being upset creates a lot of actual illness in the body, right?
Wow.
So that's also why I'm not doing my clinical acupuncture practice hardly at all, because people that were coming in with things happen to be leaders of businesses and working for government, whatever, and they were feeling like, fix me, I'm upset, I need to go back out. And I'd be like, well, you know what, I could actually teach you how your body actually works, and then eventually you can practice these skills as you go, and you'll be able, it's a strange business model to work myself out of a job, but I did, because now they want to be coached on how to create a culture of upset is optional, right?
Wow. Yeah.
But it's really important to never make a request when you're upset. Never. Find out how to find that calm, cool body
Okay.
first. You want to be clear. You really want to take the time. And once you get into that, it's much a quicker turnaround. These are all practices that, as you keep practicing, they become muscle, like muscle memory. And
Yeah.
I would say resistance of what's happening in the moment. If you think about resistance does, in the gym, build great muscles. So noticing that the resistance is going to build your capacity to be a much better communicator, to have a much better relationship, to build trust with your body as wise, because you're not getting that out in the world. People saying your body's wise. Who says that? It's mostly like you go to the doctor, they're
Mary.
like, I don't, right? They're like, I don't know. I don't know. And I'm like, well, let's get curious first. Let's not make it wrong and bad that you're showing up in your body as is. I mean, that's the first thing about being human and humaning well, is like, this is the body I'm in. I body different times. Again, weird grammar. I body a lot in different bodies, but who's designing the body is my question. Is it you? Or are you giving over your power? And if we want women, especially, to show up in their power, because we do need that medicine. I call it medicine, because when someone says, I'm upset, but you know what? I'm realizing I didn't say something I thought was clear, and now it's not clear. So I'm going to go back and make it clear, right? It kind of, you can deflate your own balloon, so to speak. Go, I'm just going to go do it. it's incredibly clarifying and empowering to know that no one else has agency over me. Nobody. And to really own it. And I've got the skills and practices that actually proves that. And that's why they're so effective, because not only you feel better, and you're really moving and grooving inside your life and in your business, you're also infecting everybody else around you. And they're like, something's different about you. I'm not as, you don't seem as reactive. And you're like, no, because I'm using my reactivity to turn that around and create a calm and clear body.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a different paradigm for sure.
Yeah. Gorgeous. I love this conversation so much, and what a great reminder to all of us. Well, what a great learning for all of us. What a great reminder for those of us that are on a healing journey of keeping our agency and self-reflection. 100%. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about who exactly should be reaching out to you. I mean, we're getting a really good idea of what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you help? Who should be reaching out to you?
So I fall into this area where when I have what I would call, and this interview actually might be this, like, we're having just a conversation with curiosity. We're going, oh, what is this about? What is Mary about? And what could we be curious? So what I fall into is like, there's been like, yes, I know how to do all the health and wellness things, right? I know how to yoga, I've done breath work, right? I've done acupuncture, all the stuff, right? And those are amazing. And I want you to do all of those for the joy of it, not because I have to, because I'm feeling depleted, or I would say you're depleting yourself. Do you know how you do it? Because once that little shift, it's like, oh, who can teach me a set of skills, honoring where I am in this body at my time in my life, whether you're, teenager to crone, right? People in their, 70s, 80s usually have a business. Is There's some type of, they're up to something. They're up to something in the world other than just creating a paycheck, right? But they're finding that, a lot of times people have come to me where they keep losing people on their team. They're quitting, or they're just not inspired by their work anymore. They think I think it's time for me. I had one client who's like, I think I need to do something completely different. And I say, well, maybe, but let's find out. Let's find out what's having you think that. But everything I do is from the embody. And you might hear the word somatic, and certainly yes, but it's a little bit, it's like somatic plus, maybe, where you're noticing your reactivity, but how you interpret something is really critical, though, because I don't wholesale believe that, oh, this must mean, the universe is talking to me. Well, certainly, I'm a very spiritual person, but maybe, but like, what else is going on here? Because we also don't want to adopt any type of stories that aren't actually true unless we really suss them out. Like until we figure out, like, is this really actually what's happening? Like, and facts. So facts matter. Let me just say that facts and your experience matters. So, and so that's usually, and so they don't want to go to therapy. They want a coach. They wanted some actual skills, or they're doing therapy. And I actually have a lot of clients that are therapists to help like clarify if they're doing like more, depending on what, they're able to do in a treatment space, but for themselves to get really clear about their business and what type of people they're attracting. So the skills work I do is really having you evaluate using very simple, and simple does not mean easy, and simple does not mean to be dismissed. Because I can pretty much teach any of these skills in about 10 minutes, honestly. But there's a lot of questions about, where could I use this? How can I use that? And what if, and so I leave like everybody more time to go, is that it? I'm like, yeah, simplicity is elegance, is results. If we make things too complex, Like the thing you're dealing with is probably very complex, huge societal issues, very complex. I'm not dismissing that at all. But for you, could we create some simplicity so you can be powerful, or aim it at the thing you want, the result that you're not getting? That's where we focus. The simplicity is you. So you can go out and practice immediately.
Love that. How can people find you, and where can they follow you?
Well, excuse me, I am on all the social media platforms, including Blue Sky, and I haven't actually memorized that one, but everything on How We Heal at howweheal.info is Instagram. How We Heal is at How We Heal is Facebook, and then LinkedIn. There's a longer thing, but we can put that in the notes, right? So, but yeah, I'm on all the places. Howweheal.info is my website. Yeah, so I'm unleashing a couple programs, 3 new ones, and a taster coming up on the 11th, February 11th at noon Eastern time. We can put that information in the notes, as well as on the 25th. So if you just want like a bite of like, what does she mean? These are 2 opportunities to do that.
That's great. Is Blue Sky an app?
Yeah, Blue Sky Social.
Blue Sky app is a social media platform that allows users to share short posts, images, and videos, similar to Twitter.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. Never even heard of this. First time.
Yeah.
And it's got a little butterfly. That's so cute.
Excuse me. It's at howweheal.bsky.social. Yeah. So everything is .bsky.social. And so I kept it at How We Heal. Yeah.
Wow. Very cool. I'm going to have to look that up. Well, I so appreciate you coming on and sharing so much goodness with us. I know this was just amazing for so many of my ladies. For those of you that are here, really resonating with Mary and all the goodness that she's sharing, her website, once again, is howweheal.info. It is in a clickable link in the description below, wherever you're watching us at. And she's on pretty much all the socials. So appreciate you being here, hanging out with us, sharing so much goodness. Any closing thoughts as we wrap up?
You know, the most brilliant design is your body. It's never your body's never a problem. It's not a problem to solve. Your symptoms are wisdom, absolutely 100%, pointing to what matters to you. And I'm here to help you find that out, because there's no time like the present to really decide, you know what? This is the year. This is the year I'm really going to do what I have set out to say, because the world needs your medicine. The world needs your magic, and you have a piece of it. Everybody has their own piece of that to offer the world. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be the biggest thing in the world, but everybody here is medicine. And I would like to help them be the medicine that is needed in the world right now.
Beautiful. Well, thank you again. Appreciate you sharing your wisdom, sharing your inspiration. To those of you here listening,
Sabrina,
thank you
so much.
You
do a lot. I've seen a lot of your programs, and I just want to say thank you for being the platform that you are, and the human being that you are, and evolving. So really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Really.
Thank you.
Did you get that?
Yes. Thank you for the emphasis on evolving. I appreciate that. It's a constant. Yes. To our dedicated listeners, thank you for sharing with us until the very end. Remember to follow, like, and share. Once again, I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I invite you to join our amazing community, Her Nation, where we continue to uplift each other every step of the way. Until next time.